I'm Desi Albert.
My name is Jennifer Hendon.
And together,
we are Whiny Women.
Whiny Women is a place where we encourage girlfriends to come together, talk about hot topics, and we really value everyone's opinion no matter what it is, even if it differs from ours, right?
Yes.
And so we think that always pairs well with a little wine.
Of course. Cheers.
Cheers. All right, Jen, what are we drinking tonight?
So tonight, we are drinking 19 Crimes Cali Red. And we were actually suggested this by somebody on our Instagram, Mama Cyborg. Thanks, Mama Cyborg.
Yes, thank you for the recommendation. I love that.
So Snoop Dogg.
Yes.
Snoop Dogg's new wine.
Okay, well, we are drinking 19 Crimes Cali Red, which is a full and dense with strong black and blue fruit notes up front from the Petite Syrah, complemented by bright red, slightly candied fruit in the background from the Zinfandel. And it's all tied together with a sweet finish. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm actually drinking my wine from last night, so it's a Bothic Inferno. It's delicious. But I'm going to pour me a glass next.
I want to know what
do you think?
Strong black and blue fruit notes are.
I want to know what sugared
candy
is.
Well, it's good. Tonight we're talking about Las Vegas.
Yes, for those that don't know, we live here.
Yes.
And I've lived here for 4 years.
Yeah.
And how long have you lived here?
This time around, it's 5.
5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've both been here for a couple of years now.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I'd say we're like, oldies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, at this
compared
point.
To some.
Yeah, I agree. You're right.
So.
We're pretty, established at this point
yeah.
in the journey. How did you end up here?
So for me and my husband, we had moved out here to help our friends plant a church. So I know I had visited Vegas all throughout my adulthood. Like I came here every year to party, with my sisters and mom.
Yeah.
And then...
that's so funny.
Yeah. And then, me and Danny had a life change. We started going to church more, following Jesus. So
right.
We obviously stopped doing, most of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so when we moved out here with friends, it was just kind of like why not?
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I moved out here, I think originally it's been almost 10 years the first time around. It was a work opportunity that was presented to me. And I just really had why not moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved out here really on a whim. It happened very fast. I have to tell you, it actually happened so fast. So I got the offer on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday was my day off.
Mm-hmm.
I drove to Vegas, signed a lease, and the moving truck came to my apartment.
On Monday?
On Monday. That's how fast it happened.
Oh my gosh, that's like 3 days.
Yeah. It was insane. But such a good, crazy, insane. Yeah, it was. So I lived out here for a few years by myself. And then I had the opportunity to move to the New York, New Jersey area for work. Did not like it there. I was there. I said 1 year and I was there for 3.
It's very
so I
interesting.
feel like I did my time.
It's interesting to hear.
Yeah, no, not a fan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, New York is amazing. The city is so fun, but to live there is not for me. But there are a lot of people that love it, and I think it's definitely something that if it's not on your bucket list, you have to go there once, it should be. But I just didn't love living there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
So really knowing that the West Coast was on my heart to get back to, the position came available again on the West Coast. So I moved back, and I've been back now for 5 years. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. And this time I came back with a husband. So that was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he likes it too, which is a shock because he's totally born and raised in New York and is an East Coaster through and through. Yeah.
It's surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah. So me and my husband were from Indiana.
Yeah.
So this
also
was
culture shock.
Very, very much so. But I think in the best way.
Yeah.
I feel like regarding culture shock, because most people think, and I think this is one of our questions, what is something about Vegas that surprised you? And for us, it was the fact that there's life outside of the Strip.
Yeah.
There's families, community, so many other things to do outside of the Strip. And we just loved that. We love the people here.
Yeah. Very similar story, but the first time I got the job opportunity to move out here, like my initial reaction was like, what hotel do I live in?
Yeah.
You know, and I had two small dogs at the time, so I was thinking, and like, how do I take my dogs out? Do I like literally have to get in an elevator from like the 19th floor and like walk my dogs like, you know, multiple times a day? Like, how does this work? And they put me on a call with the girl whose position I was taking over, and she was like, no, there's like a Target and a Starbucks and like there's apartment complexes and like housing developments. And I'm like, oh, like, and then I started thinking, of course, like the people who work on the Strip like live somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, but like my initial thought was like not that. Yeah. And even just like, you know, growing up in San Diego, so it's so close to Vegas that everyone comes here frequently to like party and whatnot. And I mean, you just never see anything but the Strip, you know? So I just never thought about anything other than the
outside
Strip. Yeah.
Of the Strip. Yeah.
What other misconceptions can we just like put to rest?
I still hear a lot from people that prostitution is legal here. Yeah. And it's not.
No.
So I guess when you move here, you find out that it's not legal.
Yeah.
However, we do have legalized escorts. So, I mean, a lot of people assume it's the same.
Right.
And it's not. And it's also they try to keep it off the Strip, like the escort services and whatnot, and businesses. So, so that was an interesting thing, that prostitution is legal in 9 other counties here in Nevada, but those counties are like out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, not Vegas.
Yeah, it's not in Clark County where Vegas is, or Henderson.
Yep.
What about you?
I think that one of the biggest misconceptions is that if you live here, you spend a lot of time on the Strip. Like they think that we eat dinner on the Strip and we're at shows every weekend.
Yeah.
No, definitely not the case. I think that it's very fun at first. When you first move here, you have to kind of experience it and I feel like get it out of your system a little bit. And then when you have family or friends coming to town, it's like you have an obligation to take them, of course. But then after a couple years, and I think you guys are there now too, where it's like, I'll just drop you off. Like, I just can't even.
Yeah, no thanks.
I'm like, just Uber home and, you know, good luck to you. But, like, I just don't want to spend one more minute on the Strip.
It's good.
I think there's some good stuff. And it is fun to go down there, I guess, if you're, like, really looking for, like, a date night or a specific show. But, yeah, for the most part, locals don't spend a lot of time on the Strip.
No.
Yeah.
You'll find that locals that have been here longer than 2 years, like, if anything, I feel like you avoid the Strip.
Yeah. The last few years were interesting because I worked still on the Strip. So then it makes it also even worse when people are in town because you're like, the last place I want to be is also where I work.
Yeah.
You know? So that made it harder too.
Yes.
I have a fun one. But I think maybe this is just a misconception for myself, but if I can put it to rest for anybody else, I never thought about shopping in Vegas. Like, I just never imagined, like, what do shopping malls look like in Vegas? Like, do people even like shop in Vegas? Like, everyone spends their money on gambling and drinking, that I know.
Yeah.
But there's actually really amazing shopping in Vegas.
Yes.
Yeah, and people fly in from different countries to shop in Vegas.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of really great shops. That was something that I didn't know before moving here.
I think that is such an interesting so regarding Vegas, it's a lot bigger than outside of the Strip.
Right.
So you don't really think about just the fact that we have 4 or 5 huge malls.
Yeah.
You know, we have parks all over the place.
Yes, we do.
You just, like, every area has their own little thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Just funny
how
stuff.
How big Vegas is.
Yeah. Do you make exceptions for downtown? Like, would you spend, as a local, would you spend time downtown, or do you still?
So me and my husband just moved from downtown.
Right.
And I don't, outside of living there, I mean, we went there to hang out with my family who was just in town. But outside of that, going downtown for a night, I mean, I don't know. I kind of see that as like the Strip.
Yeah.
There's some pretty cute restaurants down there.
There are.
So, I mean, we would go there for that. But it would be like a special occasion type of thing. You know?
That, I think, has like shifted for me a little bit because when I lived here the first time around and I was single, I liked to party, and there's a lot of like really cool restaurants and bars you can kind of
Yeah.
bar hop.
Yeah.
So that was like a really great place to do that. But now coming back as a married woman, I definitely don't find it as
Appealing.
as appealing.
Yeah.
And I did at first with Steve only because we would drink together and like do the whole bar scene together. But he's been sober for 2 years now, and so now I really feel like there's not any like reason for us to
Yeah.
be down there, with the exception of like, you know, like you said, like families in town, or there are some really great restaurants down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, and I do think that it does, as a local, it does feel a little different than the Strip, and so, oh, bless you.
I don't have COVID, I swear.
Such a funny season, right? Where you feel like you have to like say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it does feel different for me as a local. Like there are some certain spots, like not that main downtown area with the lights on top.
Yeah.
Fremont Street. Why should I not know the name? But like that little side street that has like the bars and restaurants, I think as a local, like it doesn't turn me off as much as like some of the more populated tourist areas.
But even now, like that stuff, like some of it's still closed. Like, so.
Yeah,
it's
I haven't even been down there since COVID, so
It's weird. We were just down there. It's weird.
That's such a bummer.
Yeah.
Okay. So since living here, what has surprised you? Maybe I should have saved my shopping tip for this question.
That surprised me. I think. So I've known people who've lived here for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And they will say like, you know, you will never ever ever experience all of the restaurants that are here. And so like Vegas is like a place of just everybody's a transplant.
Yeah.
Nobody. Well, I don't want to say nobody was born here, because my daughter was born here.
Yeah.
Some people are born here. They're
Yeah.
very rare.
Unicorns.
But yeah, so most people come here. So many restaurant owners come here from everywhere else, and you're putting your own flavor in food, and I mean, just so many restaurants.
Yeah.
So many good food places.
Yeah.
Like if you make bad food, you're not going to make it unless you're like a dive bar. That, you know, you sell a lot of beer at happy hour.
Yeah.
You know, so like you're not going to make it if you make bad food.
I have to add that to my list now of like what surprised me, because the food here did surprise me. And you know what? It didn't even hit me at first. It was when I moved to New York that I actually didn't like the food there. I missed
That doesn't
Vegas
surprise me.
so much for the
So
food.
good.
Yeah, like Steve and I'd be sitting home on like a Friday night, and like I'd be like wanting to like have like a date night or like a specific meal, and there was just like I felt like there was just nothing to eat. And I was so frustrated living there, just like feeling like I had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
But and I think that's so funny to say about New York. Like I know that people think the food there is so great. I didn't like it. And so when we moved here, I was like, see, like there's so many good restaurants. Like I was so happy to be back and to be surrounded by such great restaurants and wine bars and all the things. Like just such good,
everything.
so good for food.
Anything
and
you
drinks.
can think of regarding food.
Yeah.
And that was something. So coffee.
Yeah. We have a major coffee culture here.
I was a huge
Yeah.
like Dunkin' Donuts fan in Indiana,
Yeah, that makes sense.
and just obsessed.
Big-
I used to
yeah.
get Dunkin' Donuts every single day, and
Yeah.
then I moved here and I learned that coffee is really bad.
Yeah.
So we're like coffee snobs now.
Yeah. Well, growing up in San Diego, I mean, there was Starbucks on every corner.
Oh, yeah.
And like Dunkin' Donuts,
And there
not
is-
so much.
And there is here too, like with
Yeah.
Starbucks, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going for a good cup of coffee, you don't really go to Starbucks. I
Right.
don't know how they survive, but in
Yeah.
any case.
Yeah. No, I just think it's funny because like there just wasn't as many Dunkin' Donuts. But anyone I talk to from like the East Coast or the Midwest, like they always talk about Dunkin' Donuts. But yeah, we have a really great coffee culture.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I agree that it does put like the chain coffee places to shame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
Coffee place?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think if it's a chain place,
Yeah. I know what you're gonna say.
it would definitely be Coffee Bean.
Yep. Do you know that I used to work there?
Oh my god.
I worked there when I was like 16. I had to wear a visor and an apron, and I was miserable.
You were done.
Yeah.
You were like,
I
this
was
is
like,
not for
I
me.
might as well work at McDonald's.
Visors.
Like, I can't with this
Visors
outfit.
are not for me.
No, that's when I got into
I'm out.
retail immediately. Yeah,
Yeah.
personally, nothing wrong with working at any of those places or having that as a dress code, but just, you know, for me, it was not my aesthetic.
If you were to give anybody
Mhm.
moving out here any
Right.
sort of tips, advice,
Mhm.
what would you say?
I think that one thing I've been really pleasantly surprised about living in Vegas is how great the people are.
Yeah.
There are such
I love
great
it.
communities outside of the Strip, you know, real, authentic, loving, caring people. I've definitely made some of the best relationships that I have, you know,
Yeah.
in Vegas, more so than other places that I've lived.
Yeah.
So I think that that's definitely one of the biggest, you know, takeaways for me that I've had living here is just
Yeah.
like how great the people are. And I've also experienced, I think over the years, there's been less transparency, like less, is that right? Transplants.
Transplants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been less of
We're
those.
only on glass 1, we promise.
And now we've got the dog barking in the background. Yeah, I've noticed less of that. There's been a lot less people. Like, I think people are kind of settling here. I think people are realizing like how great the community is, and
Yeah.
they're settling,
Yeah.
which
absolutely.
is amazing. Yeah.
I think that was one of the things. Me and my husband first came out here because we came out here like to help friends with a church.
Mm-hmm.
So just talking to strangers at coffee places,
Yeah.
you know, everybody's just so open and honest. And it's
Yeah.
not like the Midwest where it's like, you know, people hide their garbage. Like here
Mhm.
it's like, girl, let me
Mhm.
tell you all of my stuff. I know I just met you and I don't care.
Yeah. True.
And like, I love that. Like,
Oh yeah. I
who
like that
doesn't
too.
prefer that in humans rather than, you know, hiding stuff
Right.
until you are about ready to explode?
Yeah.
You know, so like just meeting people here,
Mhm.
I feel like is easy, and maybe it could just be because of my personality,
Yeah.
but I don't know. That was one of the things that just drew us in,
Mm-hmm.
and that keeps us just here. And the weather. I
Yeah.
love the weather.
I do too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even mind the heat. It's
Yeah,
okay.
I don't either. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
This past summer, though, I did spend a little bit of time in Florida, so I feel like I've heard for years that whole like it's a dry heat. That's why we survive, and like I experienced that firsthand. Like Florida is so humid
Yeah.
that I was never so excited to come back to Vegas in the summertime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Me and my husband went to go visit his sister who lives in Florida,
Uh huh.
and I think that was one of the first times I realized how amazingly awesome Vegas weather is.
Right.
Like we walked outside one day and like, you know, you're just like wet for no reason. Like you're not doing
Mhm.
anything. You're not hot.
Yeah.
You're just like wet.
Right.
You know, your hair
Yep.
gone,
Yep.
makeup gone.
Yep. So true.
It's awful. I don't know. And the bugs, I don't know why. I don't know why people live there.
Yeah.
I guess people say the same thing about Vegas.
Yeah, they do. They do, which is funny. Actually, what's really funny is I hear that a lot from my friends in California. Like, I don't know how you do Vegas. Like, I don't know how you do this summer. But I, like, one year I counted, and we had less days over 100 than they did.
Mhm.
So I was like, wait, what? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and I pay a lot less to live. So, I mean, it just
Yeah,
makes
girl,
sense.
stop.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, well, let's talk about a couple of our favorite spots.
Okay.
So, what are your top 2 favorite places in Vegas?
I would say Capo's.
Mhm.
So it's a little speakeasy off the strip. And if you're going, like, they have amazing lunch specials. So if you're going there, and don't want to spend a ton of money, because you can't spend a ton of, like, they have you know, expensive steaks, which their steaks are melt in your mouth. Like I had a life-changing steak there. And they have life-changing, like, they make all their pasta sauces in-house.
Yeah.
Like, so I had life-changing ravioli there.
Yeah. Ooh.
Like, it was just life-changing.
Yeah.
So that place, it's a speakeasy. You can go there for drinks, date nights, or if you don't want to spend a ton of money, they have like a 2-for-1 lunch
Oh, wow.
happy hour. Yeah, it's really
Love
good.
that.
It's really great. So that's probably my number one favorite place to
Okay.
go to if I had to choose to eat somewhere every single day of my life. My
I've
second-
never been there, by the way.
You should go.
I'm used. Yeah, I
It's
am.
good for anything.
Yeah.
My second place would probably be Lindo Michoacan, the one here
Yeah.
in Henderson.
Okay. Mhm.
They have an amazing view of
Yes.
just the
They
city,
do.
and they have
Yeah.
good food.
We've been there together.
Yes,
Yeah.
their mango margaritas are
Yeah.
perfect.
So good.
So
I think I also remember that their tacos were pretty big and delicious.
Yeah.
And their guacamole was really good
yes,
too. Yeah.
yes. So
Love
very
that.
good. What else?
Um,
What about you?
Okay, for me, oh my gosh, I feel like I said I could only think of 2, but now I can't stop thinking about like the list in my head. It just grew to like 4. But I feel like I have to say, because I definitely eat here the most, my favorite restaurant in Vegas is Firefly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's two. So if you're from out of town and you want to experience Firefly, there's one on Paradise, and
Yes.
that is definitely more of like where the tourists go because it's so close to the Strip. But if you're a local,
Yes.
there's one on South Buffalo.
That's the one you go to.
Yeah. You can literally find me there most nights of the week.
And maybe because when I moved here, I did not know what tapas were.
Yeah.
So I went there
Yeah.
starving.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
like, I'm just like, what is happening? Am
Yeah.
I supposed to share
Yeah.
this
Mm-hmm.
with you? All of you? We had a table of like 12.
Yeah.
And I was just so confused. I'm like, okay, so I need 16 plates
Seriously. Yeah.
because I'm starving.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not a place you go starving.
I
I
mean,
feel
I
like.
think you can go there starving. You just have to order enough plates to be full. But it is my favorite restaurant. When I first moved here, the girl that I took over for, she took me there, and like I've
Been in love ever
yeah,
since.
I've literally
Oh my
not
gosh.
stopped eating there since then.
It's
But when
amazing.
you were talking about Capos, it reminded me that there's a really great spot just slightly off the Strip, so not too far if you're from out of town and visiting and wanting a great steak, but far enough off the Strip for us locals to even
Enjoy
step
it.
foot there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's called Herbs and Rye.
Have you been there?
Yeah.
Love
and I
it.
think that they have like a half off night. I want to say it's Tuesdays, but I'm not sure. But look
They
it
do.
up. Look it up. For coffee, my favorite spot is Gabby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
very
Also
cool.
close enough to the Strip. If you really wanted to go experience it, you could. Quick Uber ride over. Or, for locals, it's, far enough off the Strip where we can still enjoy it too.
Yeah.
But it's so cute. I do have to tell you that there's no name on the door, so you have to be very intentional about looking for it.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's hard to find.
It's true. Just trust that you're at the right place if you put it in your maps.
Big wooden door.
It takes you there.
Yeah.
There's just no signs that you're at a coffee shop.
Big wooden door.
So there's a lot of great coffee shops in Vegas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, gosh, I can go on and on about that. So,
Yeah. Any closing words you want to say about living in Las Vegas?
yeah, I just feel like the whole Sin City ordeal
Yeah.
gives us a bad rap.
Yeah.
But me and my husband, we moved here. We had a baby here.
Yeah.
And we're definitely okay with raising a child here in the city. Like,
Yeah.
when you're not, on the Strip, this place is a pretty great place.
Yeah. I agree.
So
Yeah.
yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you that just it really is like such a great place. I would be totally comfortable raising a family here. I think we're going to get into in our next episode of why I probably won't be
Yes.
raising my family here. But if I had to, I could. It's a great place. I think the biggest thing that, kind of surprised me, but I would want people to know about Vegas is we actually have some amazing churches here too.
Yeah,
And I think like nobody associates like church with Sin City,
absolutely.
but we definitely have some really fabulous churches.
Yes.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah.
So,
cheers.
yes. Signing off.